6 church women surrounded my crying daughter at a farmer's market, calling her a sinner for not loving the babies born from her dead father's affair. They didn't know I had receipts, and I turned them into the church's own gospel bulletins. What happened next? Let's just say the church choir's not singing the same tune anymore. If you've ever watched someone twist religion into a weapon to shame and manipulate others, this story will have you cheering. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around for one of the most emotionally satisfying acts of revenge you'll hear all week. When my ex-husband died suddenly last year, you'd think the worst was over. I wish that were true. He left behind chaos, not just emotional grief but 2 sons, children born out of an affair with another woman. She died too, just days after him. And while the world mourned the tragic loss, my daughters and I were left cleaning up the emotional wreckage. My girls, 17 and 15, discovered the affair themselves. It broke their hearts. They were the ones who told me. Can you imagine that? Being forced to carry that kind of emotional weight? Their father betrayed all of us. And yet somehow, in the eyes of his ultra-religious parents, we were the villains. The ex-in-laws? Oh, they weren't grieving their son. They were fighting for custody of my daughters, while simultaneously trying to move in with us. Yeah, no. When that failed, they turned to more righteous allies, their church. The same place that preaches forgiveness, but apparently reserves it only for men who cheat, not the women who leave them. The final straw broke at a local weekend farmer's market. It was my youngest daughter's birthday. I gave her a little spending budget, told her to treat herself, chocolate, candies, the simple things that bring light to her world again. An hour in, my phone rang. She was sobbing. "Mom, they won't let me leave. These old ladies, they're yelling at me." My heart stopped. My oldest and I sprinted through the crowd. There they were, 6 women at least in their 70s, surrounding my youngest, their voices shrill and full of self-righteous venom. "How can you call yourself a Christian? Those baby boys are your brothers. Have some compassion. Your poor grandparents. You're abandoning them in their time of need." My daughter was shaking. My oldest moved fast, grabbing her sister's basket and heading to the car as I stepped in between my child and these modern-day witches. "You don't get to shame my daughter," I said, voice steel. "You don't know anything about what she's been through." But oh, they thought they did. These were the same women from my ex-in-law's church. And when I stood my ground, they called me a disgrace. "You're supposed to obey your husband's parents, like a good Christian wife." I almost laughed. Obey? That man had an affair, fathered 2 secret kids, died before our divorce was even finalized. And I'm the one disobeying God? Security eventually asked all of us to leave. I walked out with my girls while the women followed like vultures. Their judgmental eyes burned into my back. That night, after the girls went to bed, I sat in the dark and scrolled through Facebook. What I found made my blood boil. My ex-mother-in-law had posted this long melodramatic sob story in the church group. According to her, we were heartless monsters who threw them out, abandoned orphan baby boys, and refused to even talk to them. She even claimed I was the reason she lost her grandsons. Not the truth, but her twisted narrative. And to top it off, she spun the whole affair into a surrogacy story. Claimed the woman my husband cheated with was a surrogate I'd agreed to because I couldn't have more children. Then said I rejected the boys because they were male. The mental gymnastics. The sheer audacity. And worst of all, people believed her. Her post was flooded with heart emojis and praying hands. Some of the most extreme church members rallied behind her. They knew nothing. They were ready to condemn us. That's when it hit me. If this church wanted drama, I'd give them a parable. A gospel of truth. In full color. You see, since my divorce wasn't finalized when my ex died, I had everything. Text messages, emails, screenshots, photos, conversations with his parents where they admitted the affair, and even encouraged it. Oh, and the worst? The texts where they told my daughters they were bastards and blamed them for their father's death. Simply because they told me the truth. 2 days after the funeral, they texted that to grieving teenagers. I went to the print shop and dropped cash to make everything look polished, high-quality paper, thick glossy covers. Then I made custom binders, personalized to look just like the church's hymn books. On the inside cover, a full-page photo of my ex making out with his mistress in our living room. I dropped them off at the church's back desk. No one checks the stack. They're just there, ready for anyone who forgets their hymn book. The fallout was swift. By the end of service, the gossip mill was already roaring. Phones lit up. Facebook threads exploded. The same people who were singing my ex-mother-in-law's praises now used words so harsh, the pastor had to step in to moderate. Suddenly, people weren't buying the sob story. They saw the manipulation, the hypocrisy, the sheer cruelty toward my daughters. My ex-in-laws were shamed publicly and gloriously. My favorite part? The backlash wasn't even about me. They still didn't like the fact that I left the marriage. But they now understood I wasn't a villain. I was a woman surviving a hurricane. 2 members sent letters apologizing to my daughters. One even invited us back to church for support. No thanks. My ex-in-laws were forced to leave the church they once ruled. The same place that once judged my daughters now saw the truth, and the ones who tried to rewrite our story were silenced by their own moral code. As for my ex-mother-in-law, she made one last dramatic post about how no one respects the elderly, how her son would have cared for them if he were still alive. Yeah, right. With what money? I was the breadwinner. And the life insurance? That went to my daughters, the rightful heirs. Justice doesn't always come through courts or fights. Sometimes it comes through truth, printed, bound, and slipped between pages of a hymn book. And sometimes all you need is a little paper to burn down a house of lies. If this story gave you chills, or just a little hope that justice still exists, hit that like button. Tell us in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen play out? And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that prove karma always finds its way.